Well, to me, Donna and I both come from families with a military history, and the idea of attaching this particular government to the armed forces is a way of us overlooking some of the threats to democracy that this government actually has evidenced by its behavior, shutting down Parliament, disobeying its own laws, and now seeking through the omnibus bill to actually change those laws to match its behavior, and especially support the extraction industry, and that's not just in the West. But I'm also here as an environmentalist that's related to that. We've seen tremendous damage done to the protections that have taken decades to put in place. And the opportunity of the Prime Minister being in town and us witnessing as a community to the fact that we just don't agree with these policies and are actually fearful of what they're doing to our democracy and what they leave by way of damage to our future generations who have to clean up and pay for it. Nobody's talked about the cost of the cleanup, and it's $1 billion just to clean up Sydney, Nova Scotia. What will it be to clean up 187 kilometers of tailings out west?
Do you think today is orchestrated, the fact that it's Armed Forces Day and we are celebrating our military service folks, that it doesn't cast that negative eye onto Harper?
Well, the fact that it was Armed Forces Day and the rumor about the Prime Minister coming, this manifestation today really wasn't coordinated to match the Armed Forces Day. But the opportunity to think about the service and the way we need to care for those people coming back who've served us in the armed forces. You may remember that the government fought the benefits for the veterans and lost in court, and have now just this week agreed not to appeal. So even veterans are struggling with this government, and it's in the name of austerity. But we've had two very different attitudes, it seems, a very public supportive attitude to the armed forces, and also, if you talk to veterans, many of them suffering significantly, and their families. So that's part of our difficulty, and in our case, as a family, we had people coming back from wars who were embraced, thanked, honored, and that's the way we'd like to see it in benefits as well as in public relations.
You know, he's very insulated, and you know, not many people get to him. What message do you want for him to hear today, if he hears it at all?
Well, I hope that he would remember that he's the Prime Minister of the whole country. 60% of the electorate did not vote for him, and many of those people represent decades of progress in terms of environmental protection, in terms of social programs, in terms of health, in terms of education. And I hope he would remember that that counts with people, and that he might hear our voice.
Well, this rally is really about sending a message personally to Mr. Harper, because he's in town for Armed Forces Day, that we haven't forgotten about the robocall scandal, we haven't forgotten about the voter suppression tactics or all the other anti-democratic tactics that his government is doing. We don't accept the legitimacy of his majority government, and we don't accept the agenda that he's trying to ram down Canadians' throats on the backs of winning the election on fraudulent terms.
Is today orchestrated by Harper, the fact that, you know, we are celebrating the military, that that people aren't going to focus on the negative things that are happening in Parliament?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that. I think that I think that Mr. Harper probably would be present at some Armed Forces Day event normally. I think there probably is a political reason for being here at this riding at this time, which is one of the closest ridings in the last election. It's a contested riding. It's a riding that's in which the results of the election are actively being challenged in court by the Council for Canadians. And I think there may be, in terms of the Conservative Party and Mr. Harper, I think there may be some messaging to him being here.
His ears seem to be closed at almost everything that's going on. If somehow a message gets to him today about what's happening in this parkette, what do you want him to know?
Well, I think as Canadians, I think he needs to know that we haven't forgotten about the scandal. He thinks that we're going to be distracted by other things, and there's a certain point that there's a certain amount of scandal fatigue. Like we're getting scandal every few days with these guys, so it's hard to keep them all straight sometimes, even for people who follow the news. But our message is clear. We haven't forgotten about what they did in the last election, and we don't accept what they're trying to ram down Canadians' throats with this omnibus budget bill and some of the other kind of draconian legislation that's coming across the board. And we're going to fight them every step of the way, and that's going to be in protests. It's going to be in the courts. It'll be in the next election.